The year is 2005. Anakin turns to the dark side. YouTube debuts, and we couch jump for Mariah, McDreamy, and a girl with a dragon tattoo. T-minus 20. Rewind 20 years with Joe and Mel.
Week of 29 May 2005.
T-minus 20.
Hey, what do you think this is, a talk show?
T-minus 20.
It's an icebreaker. Don't judge me yet. This is bananas. Now you will come home.
20.
My question is, who approved that shit?
Do you see where this is going?
20.
Not really.
20.
Sure you do. It's your weekly time machine to the pop culture chaos of exactly 20 years ago. Each week, if you haven't joined us before, we dive headfirst into the eyebrow-raising news, chart bangers, TV first, headline-making moments of the early 2000s, served with a fairly heavy pour of nostalgia and a little splash of sass. Thanks to your hosts, Joe and Mel. Hello, Mel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to T-minus 20. We're rewinding this week to the 29th of May through to the 4th of June, 2005.
One of the great political mysteries of our time was today solved. Who was Deep Throat? Who was the man who supplied information to Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post that helped bring down the Nixon White House?
Indeed. What a huge story this was this time 20 years ago.
Yes.
The guy had kept his identity a secret for years and years and
of
years.
Conspiracy theories, and we finally found out who it was.
Not even his family knew who it was.
Oh dear. Raj! Come here, you. It's raw. It's f***ing raw. We haven't even served the f***ing entree. I need to get food out.
Oh, that's a big TV debut. Talk about bursting onto the scene.
Cooking was never the same again. Gordon Ramsay, he started his new Hell's Kitchen over in the US this time 20 years ago.
Yeah, saucy lamb and insults that are always served medium rare.
Physical appearance really doesn't normally intimidate me, but there was something about that collection of women that knocked what I'd been planning on saying sort of right out of my head.
The collection of women knocking what you're saying out of your head, which was good because the women that he was talking about didn't have anything in their heads anyway either.
A big reality debut, Beauty and the Geek, started 20 years ago. Hot girls versus human Wikipedia pages, and we all thought it was okay.
Yeah, everyone was fine with it. I think we'll talk about it more a bit later, but it was one of those shows where the characters seemed to be able to endear themselves. Whether it was the reality TV gods engineering that or not, I don't know, but they certainly did endear themselves to you.
They did. And hey, have you seen the trend where parents are playing songs to their kids that they used to listen to when they were younger?
Right.
And filming their kids listening to songs, filming the reactions, doing reaction videos. So, think about maybe the Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre songs that you used to listen to when you were younger. And back when, the lyrics are a bit saucy.
Very saucy.
Being across the socials and kids are just... what the heck did you listen to? It's pretty funny.
Mum, Dad, that's so misogynistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're outraged by the lyrics.
They don't fit into that woke kind of agenda that exists today.
If those songs were released, they wouldn't be released today, let's be honest.
Which would be a shame,
I don't think,
wouldn't it,
but
really?
they are classics. They're classics and...
of course, they are classics. And it was a different time.
It was. It was a very different time. And that doesn't really shock me because I listened to a lot of that growing up.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to come to expect with hip-hop, particularly the older hip-hop, 90s, early 2000s, some of the lyrics were a little bit racy. Like that just comes with the territory.
Suggestive,
right?
sexual, yes.
It's the novelty songs of the 90s that have got me reflecting.
Yeah.
Can you remember some of the outrageous stuff that we used to dance to on the dance floor at Mooseheads, singing along, thinking it was okay?
Well, yes, I can. Not one to dance along on the dance floor at Mooseheads, though. You know me, like I wouldn't. But I'm definitely aware
While you're
of
holding
what
the
you're
handbags.
Yeah, well, maybe
tapping your toe.
just bopping along to this one.
I woke up this morning with a bad hangover, and my penis was missing again. This happens all the time. It's detachable. This comes in handy a lot of the time. I can leave it home when I think it's going to get me in trouble, or I can rent it out when I don't need it.
Now, that was on the radio, and I can remember it being back announced as like, there's King Missile with detachable penis.
And we thought that was fine.
Yeah,
There's no problem.
Like, news and traffic is next. Okay. We've just accepted
on the radio.
it.
Yeah, I know. What about the Bloodhound Gang? Do you remember this one?
Oh, absolutely.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Do it again now. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
I think that's like one of the most famous ones of them all.
I think that's still on the radio.
Oh, it's been making money for the Bloodhound Gang quite comfortably
That's their
year in,
only
year
song,
out.
isn't
They
it?
still collect royalties.
I don't know
They did have a few other songs.
I don't remember any other ones except for that one.
Yeah, well, that was the one.
But this is the funny thing. Like the Snoop songs, they were never played on the radio
No, they were
because they were censored, because they were so full on. But this, kids used to ring up and vote for it on the Hot 30. Play Bad Touch,
By the
Bloodhound
Bloodhound
Gang.
Gang,
And like
yeah.
a 7-year-old.
Yes, and it's got lyrics in it like
Discovery Channel song. Come on, play the Discovery
My favourite line in that song is, love, the kind you clean up with a mop and bucket. It's,
Everybody's favourite kind of
but
line.
there's no swearing in that one, so all of that just goes out on the air.
Yeah.
But then there was stuff that had swearing on it that still went out on the air, but just in radio edited versions. Like they would make these offensive songs and then do a radio edited version where everybody knew what they were saying, but we didn't have to worry about it, so it was okay to play. Like this one.
Don't want no short man. What in the world is that thing? You need some tweezers to put that little thing away. That has got to be the smallest I have ever seen in my whole life. Get the out of here.
I mean, my God. Not only is it emasculating, but...
I've forgotten about that till now, that song.
Man by Gillette, I think it was. Was it Gillette?
I don't know, but I'd forgotten about that. Thank you.
It's
Thank you for
gotten
reminding me.
a big run on the TikTok recently. So
Has
people
it?
have been
People have found it
breaking it
again.
out on the TikTok.
That's very funny.
Yes, because, I mean, it's all about female empowerment, isn't
Oh,
it?
clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Something like that. But that used to go out all the time. And then there was...
Is it Out Here Brothers or Out There Brothers? I think it's the Out Here Brothers.
Yeah,
they were
Out
popular.
Here, Out There.
Sort of around 90.
Well, if it was the Out There Brothers, it'd be the Ooh There Brothers, or the
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely the Out Here Brothers.
Mid-90s.
Yeah, so what was their song? That was that Boom Boom Boom.
Let me hear you say, well.
But then they had the other one, the rude one, Don't Stop.
Oh, Wiggle Wiggle. Too dissimilar maybe from some of the early 90s rap,
The
but
hip-hop, yes.
this one used to get through the censors. This was definitely played at Mooseheads.
You'd see all these, girls dancing to it.
You'd dance, you'd sing along. We had no business singing along
Girls
to
dancing to it stuff.
these
So
songs.
I think there was a bit of comedy that Chris Rock did a while ago when he was talking about all the rappers and all the nasty things that they were saying and how wives and girlfriends and stuff are dancing to it and stuff and loving it and saying it's great. And then and he's asking like, why, how, why? And they're like, well, they're not singing it about me. I mean, okay.
We had no business singing that on the bus.
No.
Sharing mixtapes with our friends.
No.
Listening to it at sleepovers.
No.
Getting up early, seeing it on Rage.
You got more of a sex
Video
education watching video hits than you did anything else back in the day, I think. Which is, and look at us, we're fine. I mean, I think we're fine. My psychologist says we're fine. Right?
Yeah, maybe don't play those ones to the kids and film their reactions.
No, not a good idea. It's the Hatches, Matches and Dispatches clue. You can film your reaction if you get this right at the end of the show. So we're going to play this for you now. A celebrity that was either born, married, died, something like that, this time 20 years ago. And you can figure out who it is at the end of the show. We'll give you a clue now. All right? Here you go.
You know, people always take the mickey out of my accent. To me, I don't sound like I even have an accent. You lot have the accent.
Do we? Okay. Well, we'll find out at the end of the show who that is.
Oh, you're waiting for me to talk? Sorry.
Yeah, I
you
figure,
just looked
I did
suggestively
that.
at me.
Suggestively?
After listening to that 90s stuff. Ooh, look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, short man really gets me going.
Detachable penis.
Yeah,
Classic.
well, there you go.
Classic.
Might as well.
Oh, well, Deep Throat. Let's go. Let's move across to Deep Throat.
God. This is not good.
This is actually a code name, part of a big conspiracy.
Yes.
Deep Throat is revealed on the 31st of May 2005, care of a Vanity Fair article outing Mark Felt, former FBI Associate Director, as Deep Throat, who was the anonymous source behind the Watergate scandal leaks.
Yeah, now Watergate definitely not of our generation, kind of a generation before.
I never even knew what it was. I knew that it started the whole gate phenomena.
The boomers know what it is.
Nipplegate. I thought it had something to do with someone drowning.
Watergate.
Yes, but I now know differently.
No, it doesn't.
I
it was a hotel. It was a hotel.
Fact-checked myself. Yeah. It was a big scandal.
It was.
Led to the resignation of Richard Nixon.
He's the only US president that has ever quit the job. The only one that's ever resigned.
Big deal.
Yeah. So it was 1972. 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. And it looked like it was a botched burglary at first, but it was revealed that it was actually part of a larger campaign of spying and sabotage and dirty tricks run by people tied to Nixon's re-election team. And even worse than that was the fact that Nixon and his aides had tried to cover it up, and they put pressure on like public servants like the FBI and also lied to the public and destroyed the evidence.
The scandal exploded when it was revealed that Nixon had secretly recorded conversations in the White House, those tapes later becoming key evidence. There was months of political and legal drama, impeachment proceedings. He finally resigns August 1974 with Vice President Gerald Ford becoming president, famously pardoning him a month later.
Yeah, that's very generous of him.
Yes.
But it was a big political scandal. It changed politics in the US and probably around the world forever in some ways. And there was no trust in the government after that. And this is where they use that suffix. Everything had a gate after it. Something is so, if it's controversial, we throw a gate on the end of it, and that legitimizes the controversy. Perfect. That makes absolutely no sense. English is a stupid language.
It is.
It's very hard to pronunciate sometimes. So Deep Throat is the secret source who fed the insider info to the Washington Post. He leaked the information to the press.
A source is an informant, not secret sources in like herbs and spices.
No, let's move away from special sources and deep throats and short dick men and all of that sort of stuff. Deep Throat was the guy who leaked the information to the media. And that was a reporter for the Washington Post by the name of Bob Woodward, and there was another guy. His co-writer was Carl Bernstein. So he spoke to those two guys during the scandal. He didn't give them any documents or anything, but he confirmed and he kind of nudged them towards it. He didn't like physically hand them anything. He's like, go and have a look at this and go and check out that. And those guys, this speaks to journalistic integrity, and this is back when, you could trust the media, I guess. Like there's a code where you do not name your source.
Don't reveal your sources.
No matter the pressure that is put upon you. So the pressure on those journalists to reveal who that source was would have been absolutely immense.
Yeah,
I mean, you're going right to the top of the Office of America.
Yeah.
Like for them not to name their source speaks volumes to their integrity. Not only that, but the integrity of Deep Throat himself, Mark Felt. It is an extraordinary secret to have kept.
And old Deep Throat helped them figure out that Nixon's aides were involved in the break-in at Watergate. They helped reveal that there was a massive cover-up orchestrated by the White House, that the FBI's investigation was being interfered with from the top. And Deep Throat's most famous quote, which came via the news article, was around "follow the money."
Now at the age of 91, Feld is long retired and living in California. He came outside today to have his picture taken by reporters, but his grandson spoke for him, saying the family had urged Feld to come forward.
As he recently told my mother, I guess people used to think Deep Throat was a criminal, but now they think he's a hero.
According to the article in Vanity Fair, Feld only began admitting his secret role to his family and his lawyer, John O'Connor, in the last 3 years.
At the beginning of this time period, I think Mark felt that he was somehow a dishonorable guy, an FBI agent who was disloyal, who leaked when he shouldn't have leaked. He kept saying an FBI agent doesn't do this. But after talking to him for 3 years, probably for the last 6 or 9 months, he's really convinced he's a hero. He knows he did the right thing.
And he did do the right thing. I mean, this is this whole culture towards whistleblowers and stuff as well. It's interesting that in those final years he did think it was okay. And imagine if the culture hadn't sort of shifted towards whistleblowers. And I mean, the fact was that everyone had recognised at this stage in history that Nixon was a crook, even though he said, "I'm not a crook." He was a crook.
Yeah. Kept it secret for 30 years, though. And I think as well, so he obviously was getting older, is in his 90s, declining health. I think his family also kind of encouraged him along the way because they were hoping that it would bring him recognition, positive recognition.
Well, it's a major historical
maybe even some
event.
financial help as well, potentially.
But follow the money, right?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously one of the most famous anonymous sources in journalism history.
Yeah.
The name, though, Deep Throat, it's a bit of an unfortunate name. I don't think it was ever meant to be kind of made public. I think the journalists themselves
Just as a code
did
word.
it as a code word. It was a cheeky reference, obviously, to the 1970s porn film Deep Throat, which was hugely controversial and widely talked about at the time. And
Yeah, I only watched it for the articles.
any detachable penises?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I know there's special effects, but yeah.
The nickname stuck, though, because I guess it hinted at secrecy and anonymity, but it also had that shock value as well.
Yeah.
And it was meant to be just, like an in-joke, newsroom humour, but it kind of came outside of the newsroom and the public ran with it. And Mark never called himself that. It wasn't his idea. I think he wanted to make that clear as well.
I don't think anybody just call
Give
me
me code name Deep Throat.
Call me
please.
Deep Throat. What do you want to be called? If he was given a choice,
What would your code name be if you could be given a code name for something because you had to be kept anonymous for whatever reason?
Yeah.
What code name would you choose?
Silverback. Like the gorilla.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe it's dependent though on what you're being anonymous for. Maybe you have to,
or like something else like Dark Wolf, or Lord Mist. That was Dan from IT's chat bot name, I think. Or whatever
he's
ICQ
online
or
messaging.
yes, Lord Mist.
I like that. That's mysterious.
Yeah.
I think Deep Throat could have gone with Lord Mist. I feel like that's probably more appropriate.
So I went for Deep Throat. I don't think anybody missed. But anyway, moving right along to a very unfortunate incident that happened in Houston, Texas around June 1st. We talked about a big gas or petroleum disaster at the diesel refinery a while ago.
Oh, was that the BP?
Yeah. Where they left the engine of the car running.
Yes, big explosion.
Yeah, so there's a big this is the longest. That was one of the largest. This is one of the longest. This show is not going well. This is the longest oil or natural gas explosion in Houston, Texas, and it happened when they were drilling at Crosby in Texas at a site just outside of Houston, which turned into the longest burning well fire in the area's history. It was operated by the Louisiana Oil and Gas Company, and it was triggered by a ruptured natural gas line at the Louisiana Oil and Gas Company drill site. The workers hit this high-pressure pocket of natural gas, and something sparked, likely from the equipment or possibly even static electricity. Maybe somebody had
someone had rubbed a balloon in their hair.
Yeah, polyester jumper that had just come out of the dryer and they went too close and off she goes. There she blows. It caused the gas to ignite and took off. It was a huge fireball, took over the entire site. I mean, I think people were in trouble. I don't think I'm not sure if there were that many casualties.
I don't think there were actually any fatalities, but I think there were injuries. But I do remember
lots of singed eyebrows. Yeah.
Like the Bunsen burners in science.
Lots of people lost their eyebrows that day. It was really sad. Yeah.
There was lots of evacuations as well, and I don't think that the firefighters could get in quickly, which was also part of the reason why it burned
It was quite hot.
for so long. And yes, no one was seriously injured, but there was a lot of environmental concerns, particularly
I know, right?
around
You know what burning hair smells like? It fucking stinks.
issues. Also the risk of groundwater contamination and wildlife, of course, displacement.
Yeah. Well, yes, they would have gone, because wildlife aren't stupid. They're like, oh, there's a fire. Let's get the out of here.
Somewhere else.
Whereas
I don't wanna
people
go
tend
there.
to run
It's
towards it.
dumb.
So, yeah.
I do remember it. I remember the footage.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah,
Because I couldn't find
remember.
anything online about this when I was looking for like an audio grab. So that's it. That's the end of the story.
Okay, great. It's
just go over to your favourite topic. I know how much you love sport, and in particular, I know how much you love racing cars. And
Yes.
this isn't quite NASCAR, which I know you have a massive affinity for, but it's close. It's the Indianapolis 500.
Ah, the Indianapolis.
The Indianapolis 500.
Great.
That's the one over in Greece where they race Cortinas.
I honestly thought that's what it was called.
No, the Indianapolis 500. The Indianapolis. British driver Dan Weldon won the Indianapolis 500 on the 29th of May 2005, and he became the first British winner since the 60s. 39 years it took for the British to win the Indianapolis 500. And he was racing for Andretti Green Racing, which at the time was co-owned by Michael Andretti, who's the son of racing legend Mario Andretti.
Of course.
It wasn't the most exciting win. I think in the final laps there was a big crash between two other drivers, Kazuki Matsuura and Danica Patrick, which kind of caused them to exit with a bit of a whimper as opposed to a bang, because they just, after the crash, the flags came out. They couldn't get the debris off the track. They cleared their position. Here, this is what happened.
There we go.
Well, I think we might know the outcome of this one right now. There goes the white and the yellow at the same time. And Danny Wellness, don't want to say who I picked there, Todd.
I know. I got to give you credit. It's not a Gilles de Ferrin. You didn't wait till the white flag to call it, but there's celebration right now in the Andretti Green Camp. Climb Tools and Jim Beam, the folks down there. 26, the number 26 has never won the Indianapolis 500 until this day in 2005. The yellow flag is out. The white flag is out. The final lap. They cannot change their positions. Dan Weldon will lead them around, and there you see the frustration on the face of Danica Patrick's face.
Danica Patrick was very annoyed. I think she was coming second during those final laps before the crash took her down, which is a bit of a shame. And Weldon, obviously, it was a banner year for him. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't just a Bradbury. He didn't win because everyone else fell over. He went on to win the 2005 Series Championship.
Yeah, the whole shebang. Sadly, he died in an accident in 2011. He was in a 15-car pileup with cars going over 220 miles an hour on this oval track. And, his car went airborne, hit the catch fence cockpit first, and it disintegrated on impact. So he's basically, it's quite gory, actually. It was unsurvivable head injuries, and he was dead at the hospital shortly after at 33 years old. But prior to that, had a pretty good time.
Well, he's
racing
deaf.
Indy cars.
With the race where he did die, he wasn't even a full-time driver that season, which makes it even more heartbreaking as well. He was offered a $5 million challenge to start from the back of the grid and win, which was a promotion designed to boost excitement and viewership.
Yeah.
And the crash then, one of the worst in IndyCar history, obviously, and led to serious scrutiny of the track safety car design and high-speed format. So
Well, that's the thing.
devastating.
Man, they're not like big chunky NAS cars. They're Indy cars, so they're quite aerodynamic and going around and around and around. It's I don't know what the to say at the end of this story, so we'll just move on to the next segment.
Music-wise, this week 20 years ago, we'll start with the Australian charts. Number one is still Gwen Stefani with Hollaback Girl. And over to the US charts.
Don't funk with my heart. I wonder if I take you home, would you still be in bed?
All I really need is a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. We can head to the crib in a little bit. I can show you how I live in a little bit. I wanna unbutton your pants.
Southern style, get wild, old school's coming down in a different color. Whip. Picture perfect, you might wanna take a flick.
Who's gonna take your place? There ain't nobody better. Oh, baby, we belong together.
Oh, Mariah taking her place on the throne at the top of the charts. I think it's going to be a 14-week tenure, so strap yourselves in for that, folks.
Yes.
Mimi reigning supreme
We
at
belong
number one
together.
there.
Yes, number two, Gwen Stefani, Hollaback Girl. Number three,
Oh.
Number four, just a little bit, and 5 Don't Funk With My Heart. So same
With a
songs,
PH.
just switched around a little bit.
Yeah.
We do have a brand new number one.
I do think Don't Funk With My Heart is new to the charts because we had 50 Cent. Hate It or Love It's gone. Gone.
Oh, I thought we had Don't Funk With My Heart and we refused to talk about it. Maybe it was their album.
It was
the
just
album.
an album thing or something.
I just say I didn't pay any attention to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
It's all right.
sorry.
It's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
It all does wash over you from time to time when you eat, sleep, and breathe these sort of things. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, a new number one over in the UK then. Let's play that.
I didn't know the Beatles were still around in 2005.
It's Oasis.
Oh,
Lila. I didn't know
of
it
course
was Lila. I thought they were saying La La.
No, it was
Like,
Lila.
La La. La La.
Lila.
From their album Don't Believe the Truth. This one debuts at number one in the UK.
Of course it does. People were frothing.
7th chart topper.
Mm.
And typical Oasis style.
Yeah, it is,
big,
isn't it?
loud, stompy, Beatlesque.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Noel.
Mm.
He later said that he didn't really want it to be the lead single off that particular album. He thought it wasn't their best.
Really?
And it was originally called Sing.
Sounds like Oasis to me. I don't know how you it definitely sounds like Oasis. So
Lila was supposed to be the sister of Sally from Don't Look Back in Anger.
Bullshit.
According to Noel. Well, it was bullshit. He just was messing with journalists for
of
fun.
course.
Classic.
He's such a joker,
Classic
that Noel.
Yeah.
What did Liam have to say about it? Anything? Too busy sulking.
Who knows?
All
Who
right.
knows? But that leads nicely into the album releases for this week because the album that this one featured on, Don't Believe the Truth,
yes.
was released.
Oh, right, at the
week.
same time. So they lead with the single. Did the single come out before the album? Must have, just to establish itself. Single goes to number one, and then he's like, all right, I think we should
Well,
release the album.
debuted at number one.
Debuted at number one.
They must have released it with the album.
They were frothing, chomping at the bit. They couldn't wait for more Oasis.
It's probably been a while between Oasis.
Yes. They're like big dromedaries travelling through the desert, and their humps have become so withered and flaccid that they're kind of flopping around on their back until they find another oasis to drink from.
Right.
And then they get their sustenance back, and now their humps are full, and Oasis is back at the top of the charts again.
Magical.
Yes. I hope I painted a really nice
Not
picture.
really. I'm just thinking of flaccid humps.
Yes, well, you can talk to Fergie about that with the Black Eyed Peas if you like.
Album sold over 300,000 copies in the first week, becoming one of the best-selling albums of 2005 in the UK.
Yep.
A couple of other tracks on there besides Lila, The Importance of Being Idle and Let There Be Love.
Good.
And this is actually the first album where other band members wrote songs that weren't vetoed by Liam
and Noel? Are you serious?
Other band members actually.
Who else
were
is in
allowed to-
Oasis apart
I have
from
no
Liam
idea
and
what
Noel?
their names
Honestly.
are. I don't know their names,
No.
but there are others.
Right,
Yes, there are
okay.
others. Can you believe
well,
that?
of course there is, yeah.
But they actually got songs onto the album. I don't know which ones they wrote.
Mm.
They also ditched the producer, Death in Vegas, halfway through the recording because Noel reckoned he had to rescue it. He didn't like it.
They didn't like the
It's
quality of the
"Nah,
production.
This is shit. I'm re-recording it myself.
Wow.
Got to get something done. Got to do it yourself.
So if you
It's
want to
Noel's
get something
attitude.
done,
do it yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Noel and Liam barely on speaking terms during this era.
Really? See, now
What a
that's
surprise.
difficult.
They were often communicating through third parties or not at all.
Right. So,
So someone like
wouldn't the third
Noel
party
told me to tell you that
wouldn't
you
Death
stink.
in Vegas have been the third party? Also,
Maybe.
like, what a f***ing stupid name, Death in Vegas.
Hmm.
Excuse me, Death in Vegas. I'm not talking to Liam right now, but if you could tell him to get fucked, that would be great. Death in Vegas, like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to him. Okay. Hey, Liam, Noel just told you to get fucked. Thank you very much for that information, Death in Vegas. If you wouldn't mind telling Noel, f*** you back, that would be wonderful. Yeah, okay, I'll do that for you. Okay. Hey, Noel, Liam said, I can't even remember which one I'm talking to. Also, I've called myself Death in Vegas. Like, what's that all about?
I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know.
That's really
Maybe
strange.
didn't make it to the Oasis and died.
Oh,
in the
he's just
desert.
ringing up a restaurant and
The
saying,
deserts.
listen, I'd like to get a table. The Gallagher brothers and I are coming out for dinner tonight.
Mm.
I'd like to get just reserve a table. The Gallagher brothers from ACS. What name should we put that under? Death in Vegas? Sorry, what? No, what name? Yeah, Death in Vegas. Just put it under Death in Vegas. What about in the coffee line? Skim Cat for Death in Vegas?
Well, maybe he just calls himself DIV for short. Div. It's for Div. Div. That would make more sense. So they hated each other then, and Liam missed a lot of the promo and interviews. Noel was annoyed and said that promoting the album felt like doing jury duty.
Yeah,
And
that
he
doesn't
said that
surprise me.
Liam was rude, arrogant, intimidating and lazy.
Yeah.
Liam said that Noel was a control freak who writes songs for his cat. But, the album was released. They did a tour, and the tour was one of their best reviewed since the, peak 90s Oasis.
I think that, look, to their credit, I think good creative comes from conflict.
And petty.
You can't have good creative without a little bit of conflict. I think that they went a little bit over the top with the conflict, and they may have spoiled the dish sometimes. Like, if you put too much salt. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
They were very salty.
Yeah, they didn't have enough harmony to go with the conflict, so it didn't balance out right. But in the short term, good stompy Brit pop comes from conflict by the sounds of things, and they're very good at it. Just generally just being insulting towards each other and other people.
That's my favourite part, actually. So it's inspired a new challenge for you, a new game.
Really?
New segment.
Okay.
Gallagher or grade schooler?
Oh, Gallagher or grade school? I'll just put some nice little, lounge music.
That's an Oasis song?
Sure is.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Just to kind of, makes
that feels Vegas-y.
Makes the insults a little bit easier to swallow as well.
Yes.
Today is the day that I'm going to give it back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to play Gallagher or grade schooler because their insults are petty and childish, and you
Right.
have to tell me whether this is a Gallagher from either side, a Gallagher brother insult,
Yep.
or a grade schooler insult that I've found on Reddit.
Okay.
So where people talk about their kids, and my kid said this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Gallagher or
grade
school.
schooler,
Okay.
and we'll just start.
I'd like to think that the Gallaghers are a little bit more mature than a grade school.
Let me just put this one out here because we know this one is a Gallagher one, and I
Yeah.
think this is my favourite one of all time.
Yeah.
He's like a man with a fork in a world of soup.
That's very good. It's like a man with a fork in a world of soup.
So this is that's
Okay.
classic Gallagher.
So if this was a game show, I'd be like, welcome back to Are You a Bigger Than a Fifth Grader? I'm your host, Noel. Is that what we're getting at here?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
I think so.
His face looks like something that came out of a slow cooker.
Gallagher brother. Oh, no.
Grade schooler.
Grade schoolers know what slow cookers are these days.
Apparently so.
That is a very good insult.
I like that.
That
Nice.
is, yeah, I'm going to use that.
Okay, are you
Yep.
ready?
Yes.
Gallagher or grade schooler? Even a glue stick knows when to shut its lid.
That's a grade schooler.
It is.
That has to
What
be.
gave it away? The glue
The glue
stick.
stick. The glue stick.
Okay.
It's like you're either eating them or you're smart enough to think about an insult around them. Yes.
Okay. I've got nothing to say about him that wouldn't be improved by shutting up.
Has to be a Gallagher brother. Yes. Yes. Right. The saying things about him gave it away.
Yes. Okay. He's like a software update. Whenever I see him, I think, not now. I just get that. I know exactly what that feeling is.
Yes.
The not now.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
I know people that are like software updates. Like, oh my God, so many times. She's sitting there minding my business and then they'll see you from across the room and you're like, oh, not now.
Gallagher or a grade
Maybe later,
schooler?
try tonight.
Try in like 5 years.
Yeah. How does never work for you? I'm going to say, I don't reckon Gallaghers are that computer savvy. I'm going to say that's a grade schooler.
That is a grade schooler.
Yeah.
You're doing great. All right. Next one.
Yep.
He's the human equivalent of a participation trophy.
These are all awesome. These are so good. The human equivalent of a participation trait. I reckon that's a Gallagher brother insult.
Grade schooler.
Oh, damn
Grade
it.
schooler.
Damn it.
All right.
That's a line ball. I could hear them saying that for sure.
He's like a man with a stone in his shoe.
That's a Gallagher brother
That's
insult.
a Gallagher brother.
He's like a man with a stone in his shoe.
He's like the kind of person who'd still be talking when you're trying to apologise.
Grade school insult.
Gallagher.
Damn
Gallagher.
it. Oh, well.
All right, here's your last one. Gallagher or grade schooler?
Uh-huh.
He's like a dog that keeps sniffing a lamppost that's already been peed on.
That's a Gallagher brother insult.
It is, and he said pissed. So I edited it back to peed so that
Yeah.
it would make it a bit trickier.
Yeah, good on you. Wow, you tried to throw me a curveball there. I'm glad.
You did well. I think you
I
at
did
least
well.
passed that one.
I'd say that's like at least
50%?
50%. 90%.
60? 63.
90%.
63.5.
More
Well
educated
done.
than the Gallaghers. So if I was to ask you if we were going to play this again, what would you say? See? Maybe.
Oh.
That was a good game. I enjoyed that.
Did you?
I like games when I win and do well.
Oh, look, I'm sure there's plenty more Gallagher insults, so we can come back for another round anytime.
Sounds good. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but this is the first time we've sort of had the luxury of being able to record the podcast during daylight hours, and some wanker next door is mowing the lawns.
No, they know who we are.
Yeah. I'll throw a few Gallagher insults at them a bit later on anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even a glue stick knows when to shut its lid.
Yes.
Keep it down.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so number one at the box office in Australia and the United States of America is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Was it Revenge of the Sith? I think it was
Yes.
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
You didn't know that
No,
straight
of course
away?
I knew it. I did. Of course. Yeah, I did. Of course.
We have talked about it. So let's move to the small screen television.
Yeah.
We had a couple of pretty big premieres. Let's start with the 30th of May 2005, Hell's Kitchen US.
Great, thank you. We've been sitting here and it's the Red Kitchen, chef.
You're waiting on a Wellington and one bash, yes? Well, I'm deeply sorry, but right now we're about 7 tables behind.
That doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, right. Can I just say you do all for me either? What do you want me to? You do nothing for me either.
I just don't understand why it's so difficult to serve some people their food.
Are you that arrogant? You haven't got a clue what's going on behind me?
It seems like you have a lot of amateur sous chefs.
Right. Finally, your head's coming outside your asshole. Now sit down, you f***ing What an asshole.
Nothing upsets Chef Ramsay more than when customers come to the kitchen.
I love that there needed to be an explanation of nothing upsets
it's
him more.
Americans, and this is their introduction to the enigma that is Gordon Ramsay.
I love that he is just as obnoxious to the patrons, to
Yeah.
the customers.
Yeah.
That's not even someone who's working for him. That's someone who's waiting for their food.
Yeah, he's
getting a little
this
bit
is a guy that has basically
impatient.
been made famous. I think like he's a good cook, right? Like he can cook, but he's basically been made famous because he's an asshole.
Yeah, that was
It's like
great.
got
I
famous for
loved that
being an
insight.
asshole. I mean, that's something that I would aspire to. I think that's a wonderful way to make a living. The thing is it very rarely turns out well for you unless you're Gordon Ramsay. And even
Or a
then, I
Gallagher
don't know.
brother.
Well, yeah, but it's tumultuous, you see. You know. It could have been some kind of superhero team up between the Gallagher brothers and Gordon Ramsay. Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Could have guessed it on
Maybe
each
they
other's
could
shows
do
and
they could
albums.
do one of those roasts. They could roast each other.
I'm noticing a trend here with these angry British men this week.
It is a bit, isn't it? So
Yeah.
this is the inaugural season of the US version. So it's the American adaptation of the British series.
Yeah, so he's quite seasoned
First time
at being an asshole.
The first time US audiences are introduced to the fiery world of Gordon Ramsay and the culinary competition.
Culinary, not culinary. You don't want any competitions to be
culinary.
taking place down there.
Under the guidance, obviously, it's the competition, and you have 12 aspiring chefs.
Yes.
Competing for the grand prize. This first season had 11 episodes. challenges. I'm not even going to try and say it. Culinary challenges.
Culinary challenges.
Dinner services, eliminations. It introduced staples like the signature dish.
Yeah, he's all over that. I think he just called the guy a dickhead.
Dish challenge, team switches. There were some big moments. Jeff had a confrontation with Gordon. He called him an asshole under his breath. I remember that one because he was like, remember he went,
yeah.
And
he's like, what did you say to me? I said you're an asshole.
And Jeff didn't back down. Jeff
Good on him.
stood by his comments, and there was a very heated exchange. And I think Jeff left the show pretty much at that.
I'm not surprised.
That point.
Did he threaten him?
Yeah, there was something.
So I know that there's. Why wouldn't you?
There's montages on the YouTube. You just look for Gordon Ramsay meltdowns. I'm pretty sure Jeff's one of them.
They've got a bunch of them. You find Jeff in there somewhere. You find that. Then there was that chick Elsie Ramos, the mother of 6. No formal training. She became a fan favourite because she was so determined and she grew.
There's always
and
a
I
fan
think Gordon
favourite,
was
isn't
reasonably right. And then the guy that won season 1, Michael Ray, he was impressive because he was good with culinary stuff and he could say the word. And he got the opportunity to open his own restaurant and train under Ramsay in London. And then he knocked it back. He said due to personal reasons.
Because personal reasons.
Yeah.
Probably didn't want to be sawn at all the time by Gordon.
Might have been a bit sensitive, you know. There's only so much abuse you can take. It's like, it is abusive. So that's the darker side of reality, but there was a lighter side to reality TV this time 20 years ago with the premiere of Beauty and the Geek. Beauty and the Geek, the original series in the USA.
My name is Richard Rubin, and I am from New Jersey. I can teach you a lot about a lot of things. And waiting for you, whoever that is. So I will see you in a bit, ladies.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he's
Oh my God. That was a more confident Geek there from season 1 of Beauty and the Geek. I did not know that the show was created by Ashton Kutcher.
Neither did I. And now that I know that, I'm like,
I don't like it anymore. Yeah.
You were taking the piss.
Yeah. And his buddy Jason Goldberg, I don't know who he is, but they called it the ultimate social experiment. Like we've never heard that before.
That was the tagline.
In reality TV.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. So you know the story. 8 beauties, models, or
based
whatever.
on their looks.
Yeah. With 8 guys who were brains, not anything to look at really physically or anything, but incredibly smart men.
Lots of them had impressive knowledge in fields like engineering, physics, computer stuff.
Dungeons and Dragons.
They love Dungeons and Dragons.
Star Trek.
Star Wars, comic books. This sounded a bit like you, apart from the engineering.
Yeah.
And the computer science.
I just didn't really apply myself, did I? I was a burnout.
Often seen in ill-fitting clothes with basic or outdated hairstyles.
Still sounding like me.
No awareness of trends or style.
That would be me. I just didn't do that.
You just have to do some physics and then
engineering.
You could have been.
I know. I could have been I could have been a contender. Could have been somebody. In the premiere, the participants met for the first time. They went off into teams. Teams competed in challenges to test the beauty's intellect and the geek's social skills, which was obviously hilarious, and hilarity ensued and everybody watched it. And then the winning team got immunity from elimination. Yeah. From culinary elimination. While the bottom teams faced off in a quiz to determine who would be sent home.
Oh, that's right. Quiz. Yes, because then the geek would teach the beauty.
Yes, and it was the whole thing was to see if people from different circles could learn from each other and form meaningful connections. And look, I think it was a rousing success in that regards because it did have a nice sentiment behind it. They did kind of endear themselves to people. But the thing with it is if you remove yourself from the fact that they were in a social experiment and a manufactured TV program, never in a million years would you find that pairing otherwise.
In real life. Well,
no.
I think a couple of them got together like over the series because this obviously ended up going worldwide. We had our own version here in Australia that went for many years, and I think then they brought it back more recently with Sophie Monk.
Yes.
And I think there are a few couplings. I don't know if any of them lasted, but outside of the experiment, some of them did go on to date. But I don't know, looking back at it, think about so the whole idea is do these beauties accept these guys for who they are, right?
Yeah.
And would there be a connection there?
Uh-huh.
What's the episode that everybody loves in this show?
The makeover.
The makeover.
Where they don't look like exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that was everybody's favourite bit, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now they're tolerable.
Now he's, Now
oh, your one looks pretty hot. I want to be paired up with him. That was
Yeah.
often the discussions afterwards. So
I think
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
I think it was like live action friend zoning. That's all it was. It's just like every week they were just friend zoning the shit out of these poor guys
And
who were
you're not-
never even a chance to begin with.
Yeah, and you're not going to be horrible to them because you've been brought on the show with that premise. It wasn't one of those shows where they tricked them into anything. They knew,
Yeah, but it's
they knew
also
what they're getting
like-
into, and you're not going to look like a bitch on TV.
I was going to say, in some ways, I feel a bit sorry for the beauties in that regard as well, because they might be, they don't have to like, you don't have to like people. You don't have to like them. And so, and if they don't like them, or they're not attracted to them, or they reject their advances because they're an endearing character, he's like, I really like her and I'd like her to go on a date with me. And he's like, will you go on a date with me? And she goes, no. And then everyone's like, boo, she's
Yes.
a villain.
Yeah.
But is she? Like, I don't think that's fair.
I like when the geeks
what is that?
don't
That's like
the beauties.
coercion or something,
There
isn't
was
it?
a couple of geeks that didn't like the beauties that were
Yeah.
just like, no, you're not for me. And the beauties were like, what?
I can't believe it.
What?
Unbelievable. How
Outrageous.
dare they?
Yeah, I don't know how it sits with me. And now knowing that Ashton Kutcher was behind it all,
Look, and
not
I tell
sure.
you, as soon as you put those beauties in the Princess Leia Return of the Jedi bikini, all bets are off. Well, quick episode's a good episode. I mean, I feel like we put a lot into a short amount of time. And we're not quite there yet. We're at the hatches, matches and dispatches section. Nothing significant in the way of, the Messiah wasn't born this time 20 years ago or anything like that.
There was a rapper called Little Someone.
Yeah, of course there was.
And I looked him up on the YouTube.
Yep.
And then I thought, oh, you'll just be too mean to him. Little Darius.
Little Darius. Yeah.
And I just thought you'll be too mean to him. And he seemed a little bit tough, and I was a bit worried about talking about him. So we went with someone
Really?
else. We went with a birthday.
Hit him with a Gallagher-style insult.
We went with a birthday.
Did his face look like something that would come out of a slow cooker? No, so we did. We went with a birthday. A celebrity having a birthday that said this.
People always take the mickey out of my accent. To me, I don't sound like I even have an accent. You lot have the accent.
Yeah. You lot have the... If you said Scary Spice, a.k.a. Mel B... You'd be correct. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Mel B.
Melanie Brown, who was born Leeds, England. So I'm sure she doesn't have an accent there. when
Middle
she's
name
at
Janine.
home. Janine.
Yeah, after the secretary on the Ghostbusters.
Janine. That doesn't...
Yeah.
She doesn't feel like a Janine,
Janine?
middle name to me.
I can hear a Janine in that accent.
And you...
Yeah.
Really?
Definitely. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. So 2005, obviously the Spice Girls are no more at this point.
Yeah.
I think she was working on her second solo album in 2005.
She wasn't like having babies with
LA
Eddie
State of
Murphy or
Mind.
something like
No,
that?
that was Phoenix. That was a few years earlier. Phoenix
right.
Shy in
Yep.
90s, 99 that
Oh,
was.
that's when she had that,
Because
yeah.
he said that it wasn't his, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy
Yep.
said that wasn't his baby. And she said, well, I beg to differ. And I think she ended up doing a paternity test. And it was proven that it was his.
child.
Yes. And I don't think he's had much involvement over the years, which is very disappointing because I do like Eddie Murphy. I like Raw and Delirious. And I thought,
I think he gets around a bit.
I felt like he'd be a more involved dad.
He's got lots of
Little
kids.
bit. Does
he?
he?
has lots of kids. Yeah.
Is he like,
the donkey from Shrek has been sowing his wild oats all over Never Never Land. Yeah. Really.
Does he?
Yeah.
How many kids do you reckon he's
Oh,
got?
he's got a few.
Like
I don't know off
ODB.
the top of my head. Do you want me to try and do you want
I
me to
think
look
you
it
should
up?
look that up while I talk
You
about
talk about
Mel
Melanie
B.
B's
So she's
birthday.
about to release her second studio album, LA State of Mind. I think that came out in June. Didn't really do too well. It was released independently, so didn't have a lot of promo around it. Didn't chart in the UK, which is where it expected to do pretty well. She was starting to do TV appearances. There was minor acting gigs, UK stage work. She appeared on The Morning and some entertainment entertainment shows.
Yeah.
I think she had a book, her autobiography. Oh, that came out in 2002, Catch a Fire.
Right.
Have you found out how many children he has?
Yeah, 10. Eddie Murphy is the father of 10 children.
10.
Eric,
and how many mums?
Eric and Bria, both 34 years of age. Christian, 33 Miles, Mitchell, 31. Shane, Audra, 29. Zola, Ivy, 23. Bella Zara, 21. Angel Iris, 16. Izzy, Iona, 7. And Max Charles, 5. I think that's a few
lots
of them.
Wild oats.
Yeah, he's got a few baby mums as well. So, yes.
Right, there you go.
Yes.
But back to Mel B. Back to the Brown. She moved to LA in 2005, and it was a little bit after this when we started to see her career resurgent around the 2010s, and she started appearing on the talent shows, X Factor, America's Got Talent. Was she on the Australian Masked Singer?
I think she was.
She's been on a few of our things.
I like her on Got Talent because she was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon when she was doing the Got Talent thing, talking about her accent, which is where we got the grab from. She really struggles with the word buzzer.
Constantly on the panel on America's Got Talent, Heidi and Simon always take the mick out how I say buzzer.
The
buzzer.
Oh, the buzzer.
The buzzer's...
Yeah, of course. The buzzer, yeah, I knew.
Buzzer.
Of course I knew that. That's what you meant.
And then the way that they say it, they go, buzzer. Like I sound like I've been smoking 50,000 cigarettes and I'm on my deathbed.
The buzzer.
The buzzer.
The buzzer.
That's cute.
It's funny.
I do like her. Happy birthday, Mel B.
Happy birthday. I hope is buzzing. And then we're going to buzz off.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done. That's the end of the show. Very short one this week, but we'll be back next week with a whole bunch of stuff. What do we got? There are lots of things next week, I am sure.
Spies. We've got some spies.
We've got spies in disguise.
We've got white powder.
We've got spies, white powder. This is sounding like a party I want to show up to. Spies, white powder, dodgy doctors. I mean, this is the party of the century next week.
Yes, and that's probably enough.
Oh, you know what else we've got?
What else?
Crazy frogs.
Oh,
yep. Well, look, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. Okay. Come and find us on the socials. You want to interact with us during the week, T-20 podcast. You can search for us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. The podcast is going up on YouTube, which is, I don't know why.
We average about 2 views a week on YouTube.
Apparently it's all about search engine optimization at the moment. Everyone's got a hard-on for about being able to be searched and found. And I've been spending my entire life trying not to be found. And then, is this the problem?
Are you like Deep Throat?
Kind
of.
To
Stay undercover.
It's why I got into radio instead of TV. But it's also like I'm creative and I want to do this, but then I want to be left alone. Does that make sense? But I'm extending the invitation for you not to leave us alone on the socials. You can come find us over there. There we've got boundaries. You can go and play in that playground with us. No problems at all. We love you. We appreciate you listening to us each and every week. It's why we do it. It's why we will continue to do it until you stop. Then we'll stop because otherwise, what's the point? But thank you very much. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for taking the time to rewind. Join us next time for another week that was 20 years ago. In the meantime, come and reminisce on the socials. Search for T-20 Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.